So in my island update for this week, I'm going to be talking tourism tax or eco tax. I've had quite a few comments on the channel recently, so I thought I'd make a video dedicated to that. And I'm going to let you know how and if this money is being used. Plus, I have an update for you regarding the workers' strikes over at Palma Airport. And as usual, I have the cruise news and the all-important weather forecast for the week ahead. But you can see I'm sitting over here on the very lovely shady balcony over here in San Agustin. I have a special guest today as well. Joe the cat is back. You'll see a little bit more from him later on in this video, but we're going to start this video talking about quite a serious subject actually regarding tourism tax over here in Mallorca. So a few weeks ago I made a video about the real reasons as to why some of you do not feel welcome enough to be able to book a holiday over here to Mallorca for this summer. But one thing I didn't anticipate was the comments that I received about the tourism tax or the eco tax, and that being the defining reason as to why you do not want to come over here on a holiday. And my goodness, we had quite a few comments. I'm just going to read a couple of those out. And for example, Sean says the tax system is unfair. It should be included at the time of booking on websites, so a true comparison can be made with other Spanish resorts that do not have this rip-off tax. Another holidaymaker said, I went to Alcudia and paid 73 euros in tourist tax. It's just wrong. Another viewer said, as a family, we visited Mallorca last year. The tourist tax was a shock with a feeling if no one pays, then we would not be handed our room key. So basically, what is this tourism tax all about? Well, I've mentioned it in previous videos. I talked about it in my unexpected costs that you may have if you're coming over here on holiday, but the tourism tax is being charged when you check into your hotel if you're coming over here on holiday. Even if you're booking an all-inclusive hotel, it's a completely separate charge that the hotelier has to collect from you, or any other licensed accommodation. In fact, even if you're arriving into Mallorca on the cruise, you even have to pay a tourist tax too. And the rates that you pay is, well, it varies depending on the type of accommodation you're staying in. You pay more for a high-star hotel, you pay less for a much cheaper lodging. So it ranges from around 1 to 4 euros per night, per person per night, and it's for those holidaymakers over the age of 15. Plus, and here's the sting, there's a tax on the tax. So the Hacienda, or the tax agency over here in Spain, gets a 10% in addition to the tourist tax as well. So if, for example, you're staying in a 4-star hotel, you're paying 3 euros per night, there's an extra 30 cents charge as well, which goes off to the tax agency, because, well, we all know how much Spain loves tax. Being a taxpayer myself, so you know, wherever there's a chance to charge some tax, that tax is being charged. Now, it's hardly surprising that you guys are finding this a little bit greedy, particularly if at time of booking you've actually paid for your holiday, only to come over here to Mallorca to check into your hotel. You're not being given your room key until you pay your tourism tax. So I can understand the comments, and they've been coming through on other videos as well, people commenting about it. I also have to say as well, for balance, that it's not just Mallorca that does charge a tourism tax. We went to Italy this summer, we had to pay a separate tourist tax. Also as well, Greece has a tourism tax, and in some of the Greek islands it's actually a lot more than you're going to pay over here in Mallorca. Portugal has a tourism tax, France has a tourism tax, and we're just talking holiday destinations here. We're not talking other countries like Germany, or even, and I have to say as well, even the UK has seen everyone else charging tourism taxes, and it's now being rolled out in Manchester. So the UK are obviously looking at rolling out a tourism tax in other key locations. Watch this space. I'm pretty sure we're going to be hearing of other places to help fill that big debt that the UK currently has. So we're going to see a tourism tax being rolled out more. But also as well, Ian, a viewer says, he says, there's a tourist tax in my home city of Manchester, and it doesn't stop the tourists from coming in to watch City, United or Oasis play. Their country, their rules, which is fair enough. So the official website for tourism tax does state, and I will drop a link to this in the description text below the video so you can go and check it out for yourself. It says, thanks for your contribution, we are able to make major investments to compensate the territorial and environmental impact on tourism on Mallorca, Menorca, Ibiza and Formentera. So basically, the eco-tax is supposed to be used for projects that are all under the sustainable tourism, cultural heritage, research such as climate change and tourism, training and jobs. Now, Billy Arnold commented on the channel just the other day. He said, "I don't mind paying an eco-tax, but I look forward to seeing where it will be spent." Now, I thought we were going to get some news about this because back in January this year, in 2025, at the Fitur Trade Fair in Madrid, it's a big travel trade fair, all the bigwigs turn out for that, it was actually reported in the local media that the Balearic Island President Marga Proens said that 1.12 billion euros are currently being spent on tourism sustainability and modernisation in the Balearic Islands, which really does sound amazing. And at the same trade fair as well, Jaume Bauza was reported to have said that a new tool would be made available by QR code, which would provide information about tourism tax investments. He was reported to have said that this is a tool to access the website that will offer both visitors and residents almost instant information on projects that are supported by the tax. Now, 8 months later, I don't know about you, maybe I've missed something, but I haven't seen any barcodes anywhere that I can scan to give me any kind of transparency as to how this tourism tax, this eco-tax, has been spent. Once again, I could be mistaken. Maybe they are somewhere. Please let me know if you have seen them, if you do have transparency about the tourism tax. In fact, I'd love to hear some official information as well from anything that I've mentioned in this video. If anyone has any further facts about this, please let me know where I can get this information, because I've been searching high and low for this. Now, the issue is that I'm actually struggling to find where any of this is being implemented, and I had to head over to an article that was published in Mallorca magazine, in German actually, and they stated, and translated, this article says, of the 480 million euros collected between 2017 and 2023, through the so-called eco-tax, only 59 million in projects were fully implemented, and this was reported by the sister newspaper Ultima Hora, citing a report by the Balearic Court of Auditors. So that's 12% of the tax used so far, and the article states that the auditors complain that the approved projects never actually left the planning phase, and they're simply immature. Apparently, some sports centres were planned without land available. Furthermore, in many cases, documentation of work completed and payments made were missing. So, where is the money being held? And it appears that a lot of the tourism tax that has been collected is now lying idle in government funds. Now, according to another German publication, and it's a website called countervor9.de, and again, a translated article here, and a comment that was made by Gabriel Escarrer, who is the president and CEO of the Melia Hotels International, calls the tourist tax a major fraud. He said as well that for years hoteliers have explained the eco-tax to guests, claiming it serves to protect the environment and promote sustainable development on the islands. And now allegations are being raised that the promise has not been fulfilled. I mean, this is actually quite serious. So I'd be actually very keen, actually, if any of this is wrong, I'd really like to and appreciate more information about how the tourism tax has been used. But like I said, it's been actually very, very hard to get any information about this, and I will be following this up, at which point I'm going to say subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, because I will be following this up, because I think everyone really does need to know and needs to see actually how this tourism tax is being implemented. But also, this article goes on to say, Escarrer believes the tourism tax has proven ineffective in several respects. It hasn't proven to be a control tool against congestion, nor has it been used for its intended purpose. There's a quote here which says, "It has contributed neither to the quality nor to the sustainability of our tourism model," says the hotel manager. Instead, it has weakened the competitiveness of the Balearic Islands because comparable destinations don't carry such a levy. So he also calls as well, apparently Escarrer calls for an honest reassessment. If one wants to maintain the tax, then only under the control of clean, transparent and effective use of funds. And I think we can all agree about that. And also as well, with all those millions and billions or whatever sitting idle, apparently idle in government funds, I think we can also say as well, this would go some way to address the housing crisis that we have here in Mallorca as well as issues about sustainable tourism. It can do a lot to address this, but like I said, it appears that nothing at the moment is being done. It's all a government issue, and once again, this has got nothing to do with being anti-tourist or anything like that. This is a government issue, and this is Spain, and this basically, from my perspective and what I've been looking at, this is how it's been used. Obviously, it's not going to go down well with holiday makers. I'd be keen to hear your comments about it. Please leave your comment below. You never know who's reading the comments in this on these videos, but feel free to drop your comments below. I will look at them at my own risk as well. I don't make the rules here, and don't forget, it's these are broader government issues as well. But it's something that has been reported about mainly in the German press, and it's been talked about as well on platforms such as LinkedIn too. So you can find all the quotes and everything I've talked about online already, and you can find other information about this on various websites too. So I'd also like to know as well, if you're visiting countries such as Italy or Portugal or Greece or wherever, whether you actually know where that tourism tax, how it's being spent. Do you actually know how it's being spent? Because I'm sure I'm going to get lots of negative comments, but in Greece, for example, are they as clear as to how their tourism tax is being spent as they are, say, in Portugal? Is this a Europe-wide thing in that all this tax is being collected? Indeed, in the UK, how are they spending the tourism tax? Do you guys know as well? So before you all jump into the comments section saying how terrible it is that Spain is doing this, is there complete transparency across Europe, or is this indeed just another big tax grab? Who knows? Who knows? But I think I'm going to leave the final comment here to Steve about this. And he says, I think the hated tourist tax is putting people off going there. And, you know, like I said, the amount of comments I've had on the channel about this, I think he may well be right. So let's see if we get any transparency. Fingers crossed. All the government officials will be going back to work in September, and I think they have to take a good look about what they were saying in the Futura in Madrid before heading over to the WTM, the World Travel Market trade show in November in London, and start saying the same things, because I think they'll need a big update about this and actually have things in place and projects completed, and have a real clear message to holidaymakers about what's going to be done about all the funds that have been collected from tourist tax over the years. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? Let's move on. Anyway, moving on now, workers' strike action over at Palma Airport. I talked about this in a video a couple of days ago. And I've been following the arrivals and departures over at Palma Airport over the past few days to see, actually, the good news is that it hasn't had too much of an effect on operations. The workers' strikes, I've given the details and the dates of when the strikes are going to be taking place and what's going to be happening about it. But the government have put in place and agreed with the workers that a minimum service has to apply as well. So we're not seeing too many big delays. Like I said in that video, something else could be delaying your flight, whether it's air traffic control over France or something else as well. But all is looking good over at Palma Airport. Don't forget, I'm going to be travelling this week as well, going through the airport in peak season. I can hardly wait for that, but I will make a video of my journey as well. So like I said, if you are travelling soon, you may want to watch that. So subscribe to the channel and don't miss that video. Okay, what else is going on? Cruise news for the week ahead. We will be welcoming in 40,000 cruise passengers into Palma Port. If you're over here on holiday and you want to plan your day trip into Palma, Wednesday is going to be looking like the quietest day. We've got no cruise liners planned for Wednesday. The busiest day will be Friday, the 22nd of August, and we're going to be having 10,000 cruise passengers coming in. But the big thing I think that's going to be affecting planning your day trip into Palma this week is going to be the weather. It's going to be the weather. And you can see behind me, actually, we do have a change of weather conditions. We can see a little bit of clouds has come in. It's looking a little bit misty, and it looks like summer may well be breaking as we edge our way towards the end of August. So we're going to start the week with high temperatures and this heat wave continuing until about Wednesday, when we're going to be seeing around a 65-ish% chance of rain arriving from around midday in the Palma area on Wednesday. And I think this may well be affecting flights coming in and out of Palma Airport, depending on the severity of the weather as well. Over the years, as you know, whenever summer does break, we do get some quite violent thunderstorms. I don't know how much rain we're going to get, or indeed if we're going to get any weather warnings. I would say please follow the Mallorca Under the Sun Facebook group. If we do have any serious weather warnings, I'll post about that on the actual day as well, so keep an eye on that. But we are thankfully going to see temperatures cooling off slightly as the week does go ahead. And it's not to say it's going to be cold by any means. We're going to have highs of around 31 degrees Celsius. Lows will be 21, so it is still very hot out here, but it's not going to be excessively hot. But we're still waiting for summer to break. But like I said, we don't have any real weather warnings in place just yet, but that can change, and that can change quite quickly. So do keep an eye on the Mallorca Under the Sun Facebook page for changes. Okay everyone, thank you very much for watching this video. I've got lots of content coming out this week, particularly from the Cala Milor area. I had an amazing live stream from over there, and I met so many lovely holiday makers last night too. I'm pretty tired actually, but check out my content coming out this week. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I'll have more news next week, but in the meantime, don't forget, also come and join us over on the Mallorca Under the Sun Facebook group. Follow me on Instagram, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Goodbye for now.